Apparently, technical analysis doesn't work. Well, in this video, I review Aaron Fifield's Chat with Traders podcast with Mike Komaransky, where he talks about technical analysis. Let's get straight into the video. Hi guys, Any aka the Knock Trader, your friendly neighborhood swing trader, back again with another video. Remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that alert button to get alerts on all my latest videos. I've got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Knock Trader on all social media platforms. And if you check the description section below, you see a link to my mailing list and to my Discord group called Pip Talks. And let's get straight into this video. So I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I don't know many other trading channels that do this, but I'm going to try and do a kind of like a reaction videos, kind of like the ones that they do to music videos. But I'm going to do it on my favorite trading podcast, Chat with Traders. Now, this is a very controversial episode where this guy called Mike Komaransky, who's a fixed income, well, he's not really a trader, I don't even know what he is, to be honest, where he talks about, towards the end of the video, he talks about technical analysis and his thoughts on it. I just thought I'd play some of the most important parts of the section about technical analysis and give my opinions on it. Now, obviously, I'm biased because I'm a technical analysis trader, but I feel like I'm quite subjective, well, objective, and if someone makes a good point, I feel like I can stand outside of myself and be objective about it and say, okay, yeah, that was a good point. So let's get straight into it rather than me ranting on.
You've got a library where you can go purchase books. Now, there's great books like Hull, and I think maybe Natenberg's on there. But then you've got a whole section dedicated to technical analysis. And that irks me. I think...
Well, let me just explain. Not that I'm trying to stop you from calling me out here. Those books are being suggested by... All the books on that page are suggested by guests who have been on this podcast.
Come on, Aaron. Aaron, man, why are you catching please? Just defend these books. Don't just...
So it's a quick reference for people, but yeah, continue.
Have you had any astrologists on your show? Because, I mean, maybe you could put those books in the same section.
This guy is so smug. What's the point of that statement? Have we had any astrologists? See, this guy, it makes it hard to like really take what he's gonna say in next because he seems like he has a personal vendetta against technical analysis. The fact that he said, "Have you had any astrologists?" Astrology and technical analysis are not the same. Like, let's be real. And he knows that. I know he's just trying to be funny and make a joke, but it kind of undercuts anything he says after that because it sounds like he has a personal gripe against technical analysis. But by making such a snarky comment, but anyway,
there is no science in technical analysis. I believe, I'm sorry for however many listeners you have who are convinced that they're making money because of TA.
How can you be convinced that you're making money? If people are making money off technical analysis, then isn't the proof in the pudding? Yeah, I don't get that. He said there's no science in it, but just because he doesn't know anyone that makes profit off technical analysis. But I know lots of people. Maybe that's my anecdotal evidence. Maybe just the people that I know that are making money off of it are the only people in the world. But that's not true. Yeah, he said there's no science in it, but I'd like to see him back up that statement. He just said that there's no science, that technical analysis isn't a science, fair enough. But if you make a statement like that, you should back it up with some sort of statement or factor or something.
I just don't think it works.
So that's how he backed it up. Made a big statement and then just backed it up with, I don't think it works. So that's just an opinion. Everyone can have an opinion, that's fine, but don't pass it off as fact. You just don't think it works, which is fair, but yeah.
And a lot of the reason it's popular is because the people who trade with technical analysis, they get away with using language that is unfalsifiable. Let me give you an example. Someone will say, Bitcoin is going to test 10,500. And if we break through, then we're going to trade 11,000. But if we don't break through, expect to trade back to 10,000. Okay, there are many things wrong with the statement. one, he's not saying very much. Two, what does it mean to test a level? Does it mean to trade it? Does it mean to come near it? If it means to come...
See, it's obvious that he doesn't know anything about technical analysis, because how can you come on a podcast and ask what does it mean to test a level? Google it. Check Investopedia. There's a definition for testing a level. Let's find it. Actually, I know what the definition is, but let me not butcher it. Let's find it.
Come near that level, like how near is it? And if we break through, what does that mean to break through? If we trade 10,501, but the thing is, no matter what happens after this person says that, he will come out and say, "You see, I was right. We tested it. We didn't break through, and we're trading near 10,000." So I think what you should do, if you hear people using unfalsifiable language, you should call them out and say, "Okay, what time frame are you talking about? Don't use the word test. Like, give me a price. Are we going to trade 10,499? And if we touch it, are we going to trade at 11,000? Okay, that's fine. That's a little better." I think the language of technical analysts is very vague and intentionally vague. It makes their charts with funny colors and lines and Ichimoku clouds like come to life. But I don't think it's real trading, no.
Is your issue with people who are using technical analysis to create, predictions, like come up with prices? Like you said, Bitcoin might test 10,500 or might break through 10,500. Like using it to, like I said, predict a price. Or is your issue also with using it as sort of like, chart patterns and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I have a problem with the language they use. And then aside from that, I don't think that drawing a line on a chart is predictive of the direction of a market by any means.
That's a fair point. Drawing a line on the chart is not predictive of knowing what direction the chart is. Anyone that says that they can predict what's going to happen next is a liar, because no one can really predict what can happen next in the stock markets. All you can do is do analysis, whether it's fundamental or technical, and you play a game of probability. So you have a higher probability of a chart going up based off of your TA or fundamental analysis, but it's a game of probability. If anyone thinks they can predict something, then they're wrong. So you're right. Prediction is a lie, but that doesn't say that technical analysis is predictive. No form of analysis can predict the market. We can just get a better probability of where we think things are going. So yeah, you're right about that, but that's the case for any type of analysis you do on the market. You can't predict anything in the market. Anyone that says they can is a liar.
I would like to sit down to a technical analyst for a month and just see what kind of money he's capable of making.
So based off of what I'm hearing, he has very strong opinions of technical analysis, but he's never sat with any technical analysts. So all of his statements are just based off of his opinions, and he's never actually seen any TA in action. That's what he sounds like he's saying, if he wants to sit down with one. So that says a lot about him. Well, not a lot about him. I don't want to attack his character, but how can you have such strong opinions on something when you've never really seen it in action, let's say?
How many trades he does. That's a challenge.
I'm just going to throw a counter argument your way. I don't necessarily agree with this or disagree with it, just so it's not a purely one-sided conversation.
Gotta love Aaron, always sitting on the fence, but I guess that's the sign of a good interviewer. Doesn't want to impose his opinion on the guests.
I feel as though some people who use technical analysis probably would agree with you that it doesn't have predictive power, but they use it perhaps as a way to manage their risk.
Okay. In what way are they?
And that sort of breaks this pattern. It's a failed pattern. that's where I'm putting my stop loss. That's where I admit I'm wrong.
So here, let me give you another example of where things can go wrong, or where things have gone right for technical analysts. In the Bitcoin world, in let's say 2015. Number one, if you're a technical analyst, you're maybe connected to 2 or 3 different exchanges. And in Bitcoin in 2016, those exchanges could differ by like 1%. So you choose your favorite technical analysis graph. You draw a line on it, and you say, okay, this is the level where I'm going to sell. You draw a curved line with a Fibonacci number attached to it. You say, okay, this is where I'm going to buy. Now, okay, you've reached the sell line in the market. You put out an order, and it executes. Now, the thing is, you're going to sell at one of the 3 exchanges with the highest price. And if we come back down and we trade on the curved line where your Fibonacci number is, and you buy it, you're going to buy at the exchange with the cheapest price. And if you do that many, many times, you might say, you know what, I'm a technical analyst wizard. But really, you're making your money over the long run because you're collecting the 1% bid ask of the exchange arbitrage. You're just doing sort of a statistical arbitrage over time. It's not because you're a technical analyst guru that you're making money. So
maybe I'm the stupid one. I don't know what he's talking about here. How has he correlated arbitrage with technical analysis? They're 2 different things. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. But you don't need technical analysis to do arbitrage. All you need is level 2 kind of tape format or something like that. Or even, you don't even need that. You just need to know the prices on 2 different exchanges. You don't even need a chart. You just need to know one price on one exchange, another price, a buy and sell on one, or ask or bid on one exchange, ask or bid on another, and then see the discrepancies. You don't even need a chart for it. So what is he talking about? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Am I right? I don't know.
in the end, you're sort of misattributing your skills to the charts when you're actually making money for a different reason. In the same way, your example, risk management, you're managing risk well because you're putting in stop losses at levels, not because the levels you choose are necessarily correct. Okay.
But when we talk about levels, like, Bitcoin is a great example of this. I'm not sure when it was. What are we in? Sort of must have been towards the end of last year, where Bitcoin held, I think it was that $6,000 level for a pretty long period of time. Like, that was a pretty significant level. Like,
good one, Aaron. That's a good point. Let's see how he comes out. Gets out.
Things like levels and actual reference points like that are a real thing, right?
What do you mean by a significant level? Yeah, we were there for a long time. Does that make it significant? I don't think so. It just means we were there.
This is a prime example of being presented with some information, and because you hold such strong biases, you can't see past your own opinion. Yeah, let me not carry on. Let's see.
So when Bitcoin broke below that $6,000 level, that had no significance to you?
No, not really.
How come?
No. I think the explanation of significance has to come from the person who's...
No, not really. They paused, so Aaron paused, so he's like, care to elaborate? No, he just said no, not really, and that was it. There's nothing you can say to Mike. He's already made his opinion. He just said no significance. Pause. Yeah, that was it. That's all you had to say. Nothing else. That was quite funny.
It says it's significant. Like, what
it's
makes
a major
it
support.
Like, what is?
I mean, there's
major
no
support level. What is it?
There's no denying it was a major support level, that $6,000 level, and when that level breaks, then there's some information there.
What's the information? That's what I'm challenging here. We've broken through 6,000. So what's next? I guess is the question. Does it mean we're going to trade to 5,200 or 5,000?
I actually got a good answer for this question. I'm going to quickly go into some charts now. So what they're talking about actually in this video is this 6,000 level. So at this point, for the whole of about 2018 for the whole of 2018, price was ebbing and flowing and found the support at around 6,100 or something like that. And just price kept ebbing and flowing, and it was making like a triangle pattern. And when it converged to the point at which you had to make a decision, it broke 6,000. And once it broke that 6,000 level, it sold off all the way down to 3,000. And I actually traded this a couple times because I saw this. Once I saw this little pattern being formed, I actually made a couple trades where I bought it when it hit support, and then I sold it when it got close to the resistance line, the descending triangle resistance line. So there was a lot of money to be made in 2018 on Bitcoin just riding this little kind of pattern. And when it converged at 6,000, it kind of sold off. So and I knew that when it hit there, it was going to do one thing: break out to the upside or sell off. But once it did one, it was going to do it emphatically. And when it sold off to 3,000. So yes, 6,000 was a key level. So yeah, back to the video.
500?
Do you need to say what's next? Do you need to say we're getting a 5.5?
Well, sort of. When you say something is significant, you want to say. I assume you're making some sort of prediction about what's happening next.
Yeah, well, probably lower prices, but then it depends what sort of trader you are. You know, if you're a swing trader, I'm not trying to make a prediction about what price it's going to go to. I didn't even trade this event. I'm just using it as an example. So, and I'm just trying to understand how you think about things.
I don't know. First of all, I wouldn't declare anything as supportive or resistance. The fact that we're even talking about levels is cringy for me. But like, you know, if we go below 6,000, does that mean we should sell 5,999? I don't know. You tell me.
Well, it depends what your strategy is, I guess, and what sort of opportunities you want to go after as a trader. But here, let me ask you this question. So, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the people who listen to this podcast are going to be new traders. And one of the things that you come across as a brand new trader and as a retail trader, you know, not coming up through DRW, technical analysis is one of the first things you kind of get introduced to. So as you're very opposed to this, someone who's only been trading for, let's say, 6 months, 12 months, might be wondering, well, how are you trading? Like, what are the sort of the signals and what sort of factors are you using to drive your decisions? Like, what sort of things do you think are important?
Sure. It's a good question. And to all the new traders, I wish you luck. I would go away from technical analysis because it's a very easy way to convince yourself that you're doing things right.
So Aaron asked him, what would you do? And he first starts by saying what he wouldn't do. But anyway.
Right. That's a trap that you shouldn't fall in. You should be looking for an edge in the marketplace, as I've said a couple times already in the interview.
Okay, finding an edge. So that's not controversial to say find an edge. A lot of people have said it on this podcast. But I'd like to be interested to hear him elaborate, because I've heard a lot of these podcasts, and when someone says they find an edge, that's really vague. But yeah. And
just because you've made money on a trade doesn't necessarily mean you've done something right. It requires many
I agree with that.
Trades over a longer period of time to suggest that you're maybe doing something right. I know it's broad and you're looking for something more concrete, but you should be able to identify an edge. And maybe you're looking for another example.
What does he mean by an edge? He still hasn't said.
If you want to trade a future, you should be able to build a futures curve and compare it to spot pricing, compare it to a forward curve. If there's swaps, you should compare it to a swap curve. And if one curve gets out of line relative to the other, you should ask yourself, well, why is this curve out of line?
Guys, I'm not even going to lie, I don't understand what he's talking about. I might be too dumb for this, but I don't understand this. Maybe this is above my head. once again, comment in the comment section below if you know what he's talking about here. I really don't know what he's talking about.
Maybe I'm out of line. Maybe my model's out of line. And if you fully exhaust all the reasons that something shouldn't be out of line, but it still is, then you could say, okay, theoretically, I think that this price is incorrect. And that's just tools of finance and math. It has nothing to do with charting.
Are you able to give, like that example, you're talking about trading spreads across the yield curve, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's probably, I'm just trying to think for the brand new trader, right? Just try not to lose them on this conversation. So let's just think about maybe just trading equities. So trading a stock, let's say trading, maybe I was going to say trading Apple stock, but maybe that's not a great example. Okay, let's just think about the US equities market. Like, what could be an example of an edge there?
I am not an equities trader. You're going to stump me on this.
That little exchange is brilliant. Basically, if I want to translate what they both said, Aaron was basically, in not so many words, Aaron was like, can you be a bit specific? Because what you said before won't make sense to a lot of people. And Mike just said, in layman terms, I got no clue. let me draw that back. It's a beautiful exchange.
Maybe I was going to say trading Apple stock, but maybe that's not a great example. Okay, let's just think about the US equities market. Like, what could be an example of an edge there?
I am not an equities trader. You're going to stump me on this. But like, if you look at dividends and projected dividends, you could probably come up with a theoretical price of a stock, and if it's trading different than that, then you should exploit it.
That was straight off the dome. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Sorry, I was trying to like talk and be PC, but that last 5-6 seconds, I think he's been waffling for quite a lot of time, and that question kind of exposed him. They asked him, "What edge are you talking about?" And he said, "If you kind of look at the that should kind of give you the I don't know." He's just like, I don't even know what to say.
I don't know. That's such a bad example.
That's all right. You're not an equity.
At least he knows.
These guys. So yeah. Maybe a poor question on my part.
I love Aaron. He always he doesn't like to show up his interviewees, so he'll deflect the negativity back to him. It's a very good strategy to preserve someone else's ego. Very smart on his part. But yeah, I think I'm going to stop it there. If I give a little roundup, I think I don't have to sugarcoat what I'm going to say. This probably bite me in the butt in the future if I want to meet these guys, but I don't think this guy knows what he's talking about. I think he has a bias when it comes to technical analysis. I have a bias too because I'm a technical analyst, so I know it's profitable because I'm a living proof of it. And I know enough people that are living proof that technical analysis works. But I have no problem with people not believing in it. It's just that if you're going to come with such strong opinions, you need to have a strong argument against it. Not just, I don't like it, and I just don't believe it, and they're charting silly lines. And even the type of words he was using, it almost sounded like he had a specific vendetta against technical analysis. Maybe, I don't know what happened in his life. Maybe a technical analyst attacked him or something. No, I'm joking. But do you know what I mean? He was saying, oh, silly lines in the curve, He was talking with very little information. He didn't even know what testing a line meant. So I think he's heard certain terms and maybe he doesn't reconcile with what they actually mean. So he thinks people are talking nonsense rather than actually educating himself on what people mean by certain things. And he's just cast it as jargon. And maybe it's because that's how he kind of does things. As you can see here, he sounded like in this podcast, he rather than saying he didn't know any way of an edge, he thought he could make something up on the spot, and then he got found out. So that might be more of a reflection on him that he doesn't like technical analysis because he doesn't understand it. I think that's the short of it. But it's a great podcast. I've left a link in the description to the podcast. Check it out. Hopefully this video doesn't get flagged. Aaron, please don't flag it. I love your podcast. I listen to all of the episodes, and hopefully I can do more reviews. Maybe I'll do one a bit more positive review, but this one really kind of annoyed me, so I had to do a review video on it. Leave a comment in the comment section below of what you thought of this the review, and even what you thought of the podcast. But yes, Any, aka the Not Trader, signing out.